Surrealism is destructive, but it destroys only what it considers to be shackles limiting its vision. My name is Supernal, and this is Artist Spotlight. Today, I'm going to be talking about an artist by the name of Kaos Nest, Joe from Italy. Heck, another person who's basically my age. What is this pattern I'm coming across here? Well, this guy, his artwork is fucking fantastic. Which, and let's jump into this shit, shall we? The first piece here, Nebula. This, I think, and yeah, it's right on the front page of his DeviantArt for a good reason. Every once in a while, pick your artist. Every artist really will make a piece of artwork that just shocks them. They're like, dude, did I make this? No, I didn't make that. That's nuts. I drew that? Holy shit. That's really what is so much fun about art, that you get a skill and you're like, whoa, dude, I just drew a face and it looks like a person? No, I was just drawing stick figures a month ago. What happened? Well, when it comes to the exactness and the purity of, well, one's display of skill, I think Kaos Nest really shows that with his particular skill here. In this piece, the entire canvas being utilized, just the whole element of it. You know, sure, you could maybe argue the top left area is a little open, but, you know, there's movement there, right? And I'm getting kind of as this title states, a nebulous feel to it. You almost kind of clouds and whatnot. It almost feels like you're in space, you know? There are certain compositions, and sometimes artworks you'll see throughout studying a lot of art, they'll just be called Composition 2, Composition A, because it's just a composition. There's no intentionality of depth or setting, world building, you know. There's no real usage of, you know, immense perspective. Like, you know, you could try yourself here. Lay some perspective lines on this. Where is it? It's kind of going to, you know, starting from the mid part where the ribs are kind of broken and kind of jutting off to the left. That's really where all I'm getting. Most of this is very much in your face and it's right in the foreground. There's basically no intentional background or much midground, you know. There's not an insane depth here, you know. So, the subject matter, which this guy, his subject matter varies quite a lot. And this one, you know, you can see some skulls, some good duality here, light and dark. But man, what is the thing that I like a lot about this is the line art. It's so, I almost want to use the word tasteful, but it's not the right thing to say. That's more of outward in, but inward out is just this immenseness. And this must have taken a lot of time, for one. The exactness, you know, the approximation of all the forms are great. So it aids in, you know, using forms that are very understandable, focused upon, and are understood from a human element. Really allows us to kind of look at them like, oh, yeah, I'm seeing lots of things that I know what they are. I'm enjoying this. Ooh, the composition then is what's important. So how it's all laid out, you know. It's like when you go to a restaurant and you get, you know, some sort of Italian dish or what have you. Every place, you know, okay, sure, it's chicken Alfredo, but some places they will compose it differently. It's the way it's displayed. The plate, and you have this, that, there, here, and there, what have you. And even though it's like the same thing, it's a graphite drawing with, you know, images that you've basically seen before. It's all about the way it's laid out. And sometimes that's really where the magic of art comes from. It is really kind of the luck of it, that you might have just made a freaking awesome composition like this one. And yeah, you just poured your heart and soul into it, and you can kind of tell and feel it from this. But I'm just loving the skulls, and, you know, it coming from the right side out. The space really adds to all of it, gives it some wholeness. And just the winding sort of bark, sort of trees there, and the roots even, and kind of the brokenness. You're getting sort of a somber feel to it as well. So the sodden kind of, there is an intensity to it though, because the intensity, I think, comes from the stark contrasts that really can bring about intensity. Where if you're using much more muted and diluted hues in values, it might not appear as stark of an image. But some good play of death and what have you there, which isn't necessarily something that, as I said, is not a common motif. He really spreads his style out quite a lot, and this piece is not gonna look like some of the other ones. So to jump to one here, this is Moondragon. Again, this didn't look anything like the one before, did it? But it has still a great... It almost looks like different artists, honestly. But it has that similar sort of surreal quality to it. Well, the one before really almost, at comparing the two here, almost felt like kind of a technique type of piece, sort of displaying the technique. Like, here, I made this, it's badass. It's like, yep, that's pretty sick. Now, this piece really shows, I think, the artist's more creative side. The fact that this is a giant-ass dragon who, his right hand is on the top of a mountain. Imagine that being, like the Alps. And down there's all those little lines are trees. So this is a huge creature. And even though the title is a dragon, I'm trying to think, like, there's nothing really about this that's kind of dragonish, but I love these small hands on the inside, the sloping neck, and the yellow that is used there, that sort of dark yellow, really brings out a good contrast, and the vibration, too, radiant color, I should say. The yellow is around it, and it's sort of almost like it's behind, but it's in the same area. There's a good harmony, okay? There's a good harmony here in the color of the teal that goes kind of back along the top part, where sort of these wisping almost tendrils, that are coming about. I love that, and the whole composition is great in this one, which this guy, he just overloads his canvas with all these forms. This one, titled Grotesque Dahlia, I saw this and I was just like, yep, this guy, he knows it. He is in there. I mean, at first you might say, well, hold on. This looks kind of unfinished. I mean, you've got color here and there, but then the subject matter, it has no color. Well, to me, that actually isn't really a problem. And I know that might be one thing to kind of get to hang your hat on, say, it looks like it's unfinished, and you can just pass along. No. This is an idea that you could say, it's a work in progress, what have you, but getting hung up over that is pointless, really. Because the intention there is that really what you're creating here, or what the artist has created, I should say, is more of, again, going back to that contrast. You now, because those other elements that are not the subject matter, the primal and the focus really that's in the middle of the fucking piece, what also spirals around, goes down because this large dragon character is just so big. Which is great. Really utilizing that space. Use that shit up. It's awesome. Going off screen and being overlaid. All this stuff here is great. So those two characters, they pop because they're not colored. And the other elements that are colored don't have nearly as much definition. It looks like they were done with watercolor, which is nice. That gives it some texture and feel to it. So it has differing textures, which again, that allows the very focused and intentional line drawings of this dragon and sort of this kind of nymph character, sort of cute. I dig that. Sort of the little interplay there, some plot, some good emotion going on there. It makes that shit pop right out. If you were just walking along in an art gallery and you saw that, you turn your head, you would be like double take and be like, oh, okay. Bam, it's right in your face. It just pops out. And because you might say, well, the color, wouldn't you look at the color first? Wouldn't that come to your head first? Well, not actually, really. It's the same idea of implied shape, implied line. There is no actual line there, and yet your mind fills it in, and it makes it actually pop out to you first. You see the implied line and the implied shape first instead of not. So you almost want to say that there should be color, but it just comes out at you. And I've talked about that for a good couple minutes, just how it's just exploding in your head. But I just can't get over how freaking cool this piece is. And to show a few more here, just gives you a better idea of, and I think this is something that's actually important, that artists really experiment and really have a different, going back to that word variance, a lot of variation in their style and what they show. This is good too if you want to build a portfolio to try to get work at, for freelancing or whatever. It's really good to show that, because that actually, focusing on the portfolio, that aspect really shows a client like, whoa, this dude has not just is he extremely good at painting, extremely good at portraits, but holy shit, he's extremely good at all this other stuff. And just this variation, they might be like, oh, that's great, and Gray and be like, ooh, hold on, this I like, So if you have a wide array and you spread yourself out, especially again for portfolios, that's really important. It really shows the art director like, I think I'm going to go with this guy because he might actually be able to give, he or she might be able to give something wholly unique and kind of what we're going for, because he shows a malleability. That pretty much kind of goes with much of this guy. He doesn't, like I said, not a whole lot of reoccurring motifs. Extremely good at layering, though. He's got some very good uses of layering, really utilizing the entire canvas. One of the last pieces that you'll see in the video really expresses that to a fucking T. All these fake figures and forms popping off the canvas and just overlaid picture in picture, the whole goddamn 9 yards. Fantastic, and I love this dude's work. The Italians have still got it. Yep, that'll do it for another artist spotlight. Again, guys, appreciate you so much for watching these videos, and I appreciate you for giving your appreciation again. Twice over, thrice over, 5 over? 55 to these awesome artists and to Kaos Nest. Give him a piece of your mind, whether it's some critique, hey, go for it, but give him some love, okay? Just shine some light on them, and if they're selling some artwork, fucking buy it, No matter how much money necessarily is, if you've got a friend who's got a birthday, or just, your grandma might like this kind of art, hey man, go for it. The artist will appreciate it. That's just what artists want. They just want someone to appreciate what they have, and literally it will make their goddamn day. So, do it. And, hey, if you liked the video, like, subscribe, all that dank shit. And, keep seeing all the awesome stuff that I'm posting on my social, and I will see you all next time.